Well, I'm John Gacy. I'm from Waterloo, Iowa.
And you're a man of some authority here. What is your title?
Well, I'm first cook in the kitchen, and I run the morning meal and the afternoon meal in the kitchen.
John, how long have you been here?
I've been here now a year and about 2 weeks.
Why am I asking how long do you plan to take up residence here?
Well, I hope to be getting out sometime in May.
Well, good. You're going to continue as a cook, use that as a profession?
Right. This is my profession before I came in.
All right.
Food service.
Back this way.
All right.
The head, feet. There's a piece of cloth down in there, probably hands. They appear to be hands.
And you see 33 children who lived and loved and were loved.
What do you got, skull down?
The murder trial of John Gacy did indeed get underway today with opening statements from the prosecution and the defense. Vivian Rosenberg is covering the trial.
Security was tight at court today, and some people coming in had more than a passing interest in the case.
Well, my feelings, I'd like to see them, do something to him besides put him in a, institution. I'd like to see him be, killed, if I got my feelings to say.
Prosecutor Robert Egan named Mrs. Wood's son along with all of Gacy's other victims as he opened for the state. Egan described Gacy as rational, premeditated, and evil, who killed his victims like flies when they got in his way. Carefully planned murders that resulted in bodies and bodies and bodies, day after day after day. Defense attorney Robert Mata countered to the jury that by any standards, Gacy is insane. He sleeps with corpses in a house where bodies have been buried for years. Can that be normal? What kind of a mind is that? The defense will show Gacy is deeply ill. Testimony in this case will begin tomorrow morning. It's expected that the prosecution will call as its first witness one of the family members of one of the victims. Vivian.
John Wayne Gacy was pronounced dead at 12:58 a.m.
That statement early this morning was more than 15 years in the making. 15 years after a graveyard of torture victims was found under his house, John Gacy paid the price. Gacy was executed for 33 sex-related murders, executed in this room at Stateville Prison, the former home of the old electric chair. His death by lethal injection took 18 minutes, 3 or 4 times longer than it should have, because of a major snafu, a blockage in an intravenous line that was to deliver the chemical to stop Gacy's breathing, the second of 3 chemicals.
During the second chemical, there was some problem with that chemical gelling in the line. We're not real clear whether it was the blood clotting with the needle or whether the chemical itself was gelling.
42 official and media witnesses watched the execution and watched as the curtain was closed during the foul-up.
He did not make eye contact with any of us. He looked up at the ceiling, said a few words to the director and the warden. One of the things I did notice was there was a complete change in the color of his face, and obviously he had a stoppage of the heart.
There were all these sort of shadowy things going on, and it was very creepy, but it wasn't like you saw anything bad happen.
Authorities say Gacy made a final statement that taking his life would not compensate for the loss of others, and that this was the state murdering him. 23 relatives of Gacy victims were not among the witnesses. They were put in a meeting room at the prison, found out Gacy was dead from TV news coverage, and served punch and cookies.
I just don't feel that it solved a whole lot, seeing someone, hearing about someone's death, but it was the sentence that came down, and I feel we need to be more consistent with our laws if we expect to have ever have a peaceful society.
My son should be remembered, and all those that have not been mentioned should be mentioned. And Michael Marino should be mentioned, and all those that have never been mentioned should be mentioned. Thank you, God.
I feel justice has been served. Just like Tim said, I'm glad it's over. It was a long, drawn-out, way overdue process that has to be shortened.
Were you told about what his last statement was? What was your opinion about that?
We were told nothing. We were really told very little.
His last statement was that he felt he was innocent, he was a victim of all this?
You know, that's something he's been saying for 15 years. That's basically what I expected him to say.
That gentleman, Vito Mazzaro, the brother of a victim, appealed to the governor late yesterday afternoon so that he could witness the execution. The governor would not speak to him on the phone, and aides said he would not be allowed. He would have to stay with the other victims' families and relatives in another room. We'll have more in about 30 minutes. Live from Stateville Prison in Joliet, I'm Dick Johnson, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Shoelaces, huh? You're in trouble now. Aren't you afraid sitting that close to me? What the hell? Oh, this is too long. You don't need it this long. Okay. I had a rosary, which I carried in my pocket. I've always carried a rosary. It was my communion rosary. They said, well, what kind of a knot do you use? I said, what do you mean knot? When I tie things up? I says, depending on what I'm using it for, I said, the only thing I ever learned from Boy Scouts is a tourniquet knot. He said, well, show us what that is. So I took, at that time, and again, it's together, but in order to demonstrate it here, I took the rosary and I said, well, here, you put it around. This is hard trying to do this. Why don't you put your hand out? Okay, here. What I told him, I said, here, all you do is you wrap it around, you put one knot in it. And I said, then you put a second knot in it. Okay? I said, then you take a stick and stick it in here and you just turn this. And I said, it causes a tourniquet. I said, that's the only knot I ever learned.
Precisely the kind of knot found on the ropes wrapped around the necks of the victims found under the house on Summerdale.